Hi, this is Andrea again, and in today's quick video I wanted to talk about what the ego is, because in the spirituality and consciousness community there's a lot of talk about what the ego is, and in many ways the talk is very negative. And so in this video I want to explain what the ego is, and also I'd like to clear up a few common misconceptions about it so that you can work with your ego rather than against it. All right, now the first thing about the ego that I'd like to clear up is that the ego is not inherently a bad thing. A lot of people are of the understanding or of the belief that they need to get rid of their ego, that they need to transcend their ego. But here's the thing, you're not going to get rid of your ego, at least not in this lifetime. Now, why is this the case? Well, your ego is what allows you to perceive yourself as a separate entity. See, all that is, source energy, God, the universe, however you want to explain that, that is everything. All right, that is the energy of everything. And the energy of everything shines through each of us. And basically what happens is it creates these individual personality structures as if all that is basically playing a big play, a big theater with itself. And we're all playing the roles of all that is. So in essence, you, I, everyone, we're really just source energy. We are this infinite potential expressing itself through an ego structure. Now, why do we need an ego structure? Well, in order to perceive yourself as being separate from all that is, in order to perceive yourself as being over there and me being over here and her being over there and him being over there, and this idea of separation, all that is has to create constructs for itself that buy into the ideas of separation. So you could not perceive yourself as separate if you weren't buying into certain limiting belief structures. Ideas that I'm different from these people, I'm made up like this, they're made up like that, these are the rules, this is how it works, rather than just standing in the knowing that everything is infinite and that you're everywhere all the time. Those are two different kinds of states. And so your ego structure is what allows all that is to have the you experience. And so I think that's an important thing to understand. In order to be a human being and have a separate human experience, you have to have an ego. You have to be able to perceive limitation. Now, if you've heard of Freud's definitions of the ego is really just the reconciliation of our natural instincts, the id, and what they call the superego, or the rules that society or the world around us have created. And so your ego structure is actually flexible. Everybody's ego is a little bit different because your ego gets to choose how it interacts with the rules or the limitations of the collective. And this is an important thing to understand, which is that you don't have to get rid of your ego, but you do have a choice as to which limitations that you buy into. And so there are going to be limitations that allow you to perceive yourself as being separate, but there's also lots of other limitations that you can buy into that further separate you, that further make you feel like you're not a part of the whole, that further drag you away from that knowing that you're really just a God essence playing in this play of humanity. And so this is the thing to understand about your ego. It's always going to be there, but that you have a choice. And the choice is in what you choose to buy into and what you choose to believe in. And so people who become overly centered in their ego, they start to take on lots of limitations that further separate them from their God essence. And somebody that becomes really entrenched in limitation becomes somebody who's struggling a lot, or who's angry a lot, or who's bitter a lot, because they become bogged down with really just too much limitation, way more limitation than is needed to play this game of life. So as you move along, really to facilitate playing the game of life in a more fun and a more freeing way, it isn't about getting rid of the ego. Rather, it's about shifting the limitations that are working against you. That's really all that it is.